Welcome to the deep dive. If you've been following the market at all, really paying attention the last couple of years, Nvidia's name has probably been everywhere.
Oh, absolutely unavoidable.
Right. It's been nothing short of phenomenal, truly one of the market's real standout performers. We're talking returns that just stunned investors, soaring over 800% in the last 2 calendar years alone.
Just incredible numbers.
Yeah, and for so many people, it seemed like the obvious bet, almost a surefire winner if you wanted to get in on the whole AI growth story.
Well, they sell the chips, right? The world's top-performing AI chips. You can't build these AI platforms without them. It's critical stuff.
Exactly. But here's where it gets, interesting. A bit perplexing, maybe. Despite all that explosive growth, that clear leadership, earlier this year, Nvidia stock kind of hit the skids.
The doldrums, as some called it.
Yeah, exactly, the doldrums. But then, just as quickly, it staged this incredible rebound. And now some experts are saying, look, this movement, it's not over yet.
The story keeps evolving.
It really does.
Yeah.
So what exactly is going on? What's the full story behind this meteoric rise, the puzzling dip, and maybe the forces that could push it even higher in the second half of the year?
That's the big question.
So our mission today is really to unpack this whole fascinating journey. From Nvidia's, surprising origins, believe it or not, through its recent market swings and exploring what could really define its path forward.
Sounds good. Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's kick things off with something that might genuinely surprise you listening. Nvidia wasn't always about AI. Not primarily. Before it became this AI giant, what was their main focus?
That's right. It's easy to forget now, but before AI became, the main event, NVIDIA's graphics processing units, GPUs, they were mostly famous for powering video games, high-end, cutting-edge stuff.
Right, for gamers.
Exactly. But the real genius moment, the real, aha moment, was when their engineers realized these GPUs, because they can handle so many tasks at the same time. Think parallel processing, they could do way more than just games. So that led to a really key strategic move. They created this parallel computing platform called CUDA.
CUDA.
Yeah. Think of CUDA as like the software key that unlocks the GPU's power for almost anything. Complex problems across different industries. And that was the crucial step that made their hardware perfect for the emerging field of AI.
So that pivot was huge then.
Oh, absolutely transformative. AI hasn't just helped NVIDIA's revenue explode, though that's happened. What's really striking is how much more profitable they've become on those sales.
That's their ability too, okay.
Yeah, we've seen their gross margins exceed 70% in recent quarters.
70%, wow.
Yeah, and just to clarify, a gross margin over 70% means for every dollar of chips they sell, they keep 70 cents after the direct manufacturing costs. That's exceptional for a hardware company.
That definitely signals some serious pricing power, a strong competitive advantage.
Exactly. It allows them to reinvest massively in R&D, keeping them ahead.
So that 70% figure is incredible, but you said recent quarters. Yeah. Was there ever a blip? Any exception to that high profitability?
There was, actually. Good point. In the latest quarter, the reported gross margin did slip down to 60%.
Ah, okay. So what happened there?
Well, it was specifically due to a $1 billion charge. It was linked directly to U.S. export controls that blocked some planned sales, particularly to places like China.
Got it. So not a demand issue, but a regulatory one.
Precisely. It hit the reported profit for that quarter, sure, but it wasn't about their core product or underlying demand weakening. It was a specific kind of one-off hurdle. If you actually exclude that charge, the underlying gross margin was still over 70%.
Okay, that's really important context. It wasn't the business itself faltering.
Right. The underlying profitability trend remains strong.
Which makes those doldrums we talked about earlier even more puzzling, doesn't it? If the core business was still so strong, what specific fears were driving that stock decline alongside the rest of the tech market?
Yeah, it was a nervous time. Investors were mainly worried about, two big interconnected things. First, the potential impact of U.S. import tariffs.
Right, tariffs hitting earnings.
Yeah, the fear was this could squeeze both consumer spending and corporate budgets, right?
Right.
And if companies tighten their belts, maybe they pull back on big investments, like AI infrastructure, which would obviously hit NVIDIA.
Makes sense.
And second, and this was a really significant factor, those U.S. controls on chip exports to China. That really weighed on NVIDIA's perceived growth potential. China's a huge market.
So restricting sales there is a big deal.
Definitely. And these weren't just, vague worries. They had a real impact. From the start of the year through early April, the stock actually dropped nearly 30%.
30%, wow. After such a run-up.
Exactly. The market was clearly bracing for some potential headwinds there.
Okay, but then, like you said, things turned around dramatically. Almost a complete U-turn. After that nearly 30% drop, it's now rocketed back up, what, more than 60% from that low?
That's right. And the broader market, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, they've hit new highs too.
So what happened? What fueled that incredible turnaround? And why do some experts think Nvidia could keep soaring for the rest of the year? What are the catalysts?
Okay, yeah. There are several really compelling reasons for the optimism. First off, valuation.
The price of the stock itself.
Right. Right now, the stock looks, well, reasonably priced. It's trading at about 36 times its forward earnings estimates. So what analysts expect it to earn next year?
And how does that compare?
Well, that's significantly down from where it was just a few months ago. It was over 50 times forward earnings. So paying $36 for every dollar of expected future profit feels, more attractive than paying over 50. It suggests there might be plenty of room for the stock to run higher.
Okay, so valuation looks better. What else?
Second, there's the whole trade situation. News around trade talks, potential deals. It suggests maybe those tariff levels won't be as harsh as initially feared.
So less macro pressure.
Potentially, or at least more clarity. Any sign of smoother trade relations or clearer export rules could definitely give a boost to growth stocks like Nvidia, which tend to do well when the economic outlook feels a bit more predictable.
Makes sense.
Third, and this is maybe the biggest factor, is just Nvidia's own internal momentum. Their major customers think Meta Platforms, Alphabet, they're still planning to spend huge amounts on AI infrastructure.
The demand is still there?
Very much so. And critically, NVIDIA just launched their Blackwell platform. That's their next-generation AI chip technology. It's generating a ton of excitement and orders already. That gives real confidence about future revenue.
And they keep innovating, right? Isn't there an update cycle?
Exactly. That's another key point. They have this commitment to an annual rhythm of chip updates. It's pretty aggressive, actually. Keeps them ahead. So we should definitely be watching the rollout of the next iteration, the Blackwell Ultra, in the second half of this year.
Okay, Blackwell Ultra.
Yeah, that process has basically just begun. If that rollout goes smoothly, it could act as another really positive catalyst, showing they're not slowing down on innovation.
Got it. Valuation, trade news, customer spending, new products, anything else?
Well, just the big picture, the macro view. The AI market itself is just booming. Exponential growth is maybe not even strong enough.
Right.
There's still huge demand for building out the basic infrastructure. And then you've got the next stages of AI starting to unfold, things like AI agents becoming more capable. The forecasts are just staggering. The overall AI market is expected to reach into the trillions of dollars in just a few years.
Trillions.
Trillions. And if you're the leading seller of the essential chips needed for that, well, that's a pretty powerful tailwind.
So putting it all together then, it sounds like even with specific challenges, like those halted chip sales to China because of export controls, Nvidia has just a whole host of other really powerful growth drivers pushing earnings higher.
Yeah.
And kind of cementing its role in this whole AI revolution.
That seems to be the narrative the market is buying into again, yes.
It's just such a fascinating journey, isn't it? From, like you said, a company known for powering video games to becoming this absolute AI titan.
Yeah.
And showing real resilience through these recent ups and downs.
Yeah.
It's quite a story of vision, really.
It really is. And I think what's truly fascinating here is how NVIDIA's story just powerfully demonstrates the importance of, well, strategic adaptation and just relentless, continuous innovation.
Yeah.
They didn't just react. They anticipated where things were going, saw a future maybe others didn't quite grasp yet, and then built the fundamental tech for it. That's allowed them to thrive even when facing pretty significant external headwinds like those trade issues.
Absolutely. And it makes you think, given that commitment you mentioned, that really aggressive annual rhythm of chip updates, constantly pushing the envelope on AI hardware, what does that incredible pace of innovation signal for the future of the AI market overall? How might that fundamentally reshape the technologies that you, listening right now, interact with every single day?
A powerful question to ponder.
Definitely something to think about as you go about your week.